Hey everyone, welcome to BrickVault. This is another Sunday episode for Top 10 Custom Creations of the Week. There were a lot of really good builds this week, particularly more, I feel, than some of the other ones in most recent times. And we also got a lot of great fan MOCs that were sent in to you guys. If you want to send in your own fan MOCs to appear at the end of the episode, check out in the video description below. There is an email that is sort of set up for that. Anyways, let's jump right into it. And this is a astonishing build by Micah Beideman. It's called Tan-Thu, the Ancient Entity. Now, gigantic sea monsters are always a fun build, but this is a creature that's kind of in and of itself. It has some tentacles that could somewhat represent something kind of even maybe a little bit close to an octopus, but it really is kind of its own creature. Now, I know this thing looks big, but you can see within the universe of the build that is a very large sail ship, but built at a very small scale. I'm pretty sure this monster would have an easy time defeating the Kraken. Now, the awesome parts about the build that I'd really like to point out, the things that really make it unique, I feel, are A, the tentacles are made entirely of inside-out tire pieces. So when that rubber is turned inside out, all of the tread is hidden on the inside, and you're left with this sort of smooth and frankly organic-looking cylinder. So that's really what makes up the tentacles, and it looks awesome. And when you take a close look at that gigantic gaping mouth, those are a lot of, I think, I'm not sure what kind of animal that is. That's a horse. There's certain kind of special animal molds. There's no heads on them, but it makes for a wonderful row of teeth that comes in at a perfect circle. I feel as if this was sort of the central build point, and a lot of the detailing was sort of added around this circle once that was complete. Anyways, it's an absolutely excellent scene, and let's take a look at this second build. This is by Aardwolf, and the title, I believe, is 314, The Lord of the Isles. It kind of runs along a similar theme to the last one. A big ship though, just a ship build, but it is just wonderfully detailed. It's a very ornate, big battleship, most likely the flagship of the Navy from whatever country this vessel is supposed to be from. There's some excellent bits of detailing which include both large crossbows as well as a working rudder that can actually be steered from above the deck. I like the shields that rest along the side and the back, and ultimately I think it was a great idea that the entire ship is actually built into the water stand. Okay, let's move down the list now, and I suppose we're sort of in the same kind of time period. This is a Trebutchet. Not only does the build look fantastic, I like the integration of the brown tread pieces that are by the wheels in the back, but this is fully operational, or a fully functional Trebutchet. This is by Andrew J.N., and it's called Trebutchet Functionality. Now, if you want to actually see the video of this thing working, I've left a link in the video description below to the Flickr account where the video is. It works in the exact same mechanics as you would expect a normal Trebuchet to work, and I highly encourage you guys to check out all of the Flickr feeds for all of the guys that I've showed the builds for in the description below. Chances are, if you like something here, you're gonna like a lot of other cool stuff that all these builders are producing throughout the years. And I believe that is especially the case with our next builder. This is Twisting Thorax, the name of the build, by Full Plate. Just about every single thing I see come from this builder, there's some sort of new technique implemented. And this build in particular stuck out to me because we actually just did a Micropolis edit maybe a day or two ago. My brother broke out his Micropolis city, and he was talking about the building techniques and just sort of the idea and format behind building a Micropolis city. And Full Plate did a wonderful twisting building in the exact same scale and size. It's actually a very tall skyscraper, and I'm unsure as to how the actual twist in the building is created. I have a feeling that the builder discovered a stud connection that was slightly offset, and they repeated this over and over and over with all the different slices. On top of that, I really do like the breakpoints that are added sort of chunk by chunk. It probably makes this thing extremely easy to move around if you need to take it apart, and it really breaks up the look of the build and makes the building look better. There's a lot of vegetation and sort of these nice outdoor spots on the building, and it's one excellent piece to put into into a Micropolis city. That is definitely for sure. Now for this next build, it is scaled up somewhat from a Micropolis city, not by a huge amount, but if you're looking at the picture, maybe you can tell that that's not really the biggest drawing point to the set. This is called War of the Worlds by Tokyo Tag Team. First off, I just love that the tripods here have that very distinctive art style to the original tripods from the War of the Worlds. Specifically, I'm referring to those very thin and slender legs that the tripods have. A lot of those early book covers look pretty similar to these guys, and heck, they're not even that far off from the War of the Worlds movie tripods. They look awesome, and they honestly don't look that flimsy, even though, you know, their limbs are so thin, and they're incredibly top-heavy, I'm sure. And I think it's also worth appreciating the damage to the buildings. That looks really great with the black smoke billowing out, and I like the multi-layered colors to the head. But let's change gears up now, and they're going to change quite a lot. This is Dexter by GolPlaysWithLego. Being perfectly honest, I liked this show a lot when I was a kid, and I'm trying not to let my personal biases get in the way too much, but the build is excellent. It captures the attitude of the character from the show extremely well. What's funny is that if you don't know the character from the episode, this might look like a chibi style build, but really this is quite accurate to how the character looks, Dexter looks in his show. And I'm happy to say that this guy looks really good from the back. It curves all the way around, pretty much no studs showing, and I like how the feet are kind of splayed out a little bit on the bottom. It's not this perfect 90-degree angles boxy look, but there is a little bit more dimension there, and Dexter comes with two different expressions, but I especially like his not so happy expression with the samurai sword piece used for his mouth. A very creative build, and I highly recommend that you check out the nano figure scaled AT-AT on GolPlaysWithLego's Flickr. That's a really cool little AT-AT. Alright, next build up is called Heartstopper by Djokson. Lego built figs always have a very unique look to them, and our sniper here is a huge deviation to what I think I'm normally seeing from other Lego built figs. I think what sticks out the best is the thick forearms juxtaposed with the thinner humerus parts of the arms, the upper part. And our female figure has a very wide hip stance, and it was an interesting choice to kind of snub off the feet, or at least make them about as long as the legs are wide. It's a great build for the gun. Excellent builds for the sight in the front with the 3 yellow dots. We kind of have almost a female predator on our hands. And by the way, if brick built figures are your thing and Lego, Djokson is somebody on Flickr that I would consider a must to follow. This next build comes at a pretty appropriate time, being the beginning of the new year. It's called the Darkside of Exercise, and this, by the way, officially is the best use of a brick built Star Wars figure. I used to think fitting Rey on top of the Ultimate Collector Series speeder was better, but then I saw this. There is a full video, by the way, of Darth Vader riding this elliptical or this exercise bike, and I highly recommend that you go watch it. Our builder MajklSpajkl says that this build was inspired by Jason from JK Brickworks. Anyways, this is actually a pretty funny video. I would say go watch it. Next up is actually another Star Wars build or set of builds. This is a MIDI scale, well, there are 3 MIDI scale ships from the Star Wars universe. Found these images on Reddit, and the uploader was ColeBurn71. This first one here is the Republic frigate, and I gotta say, the builder must have found just the right pieces at a certain shape and worked out the rest from there. This really does look like just the right amount of Lego parts put in the right amount of places. And I feel the same way for all 3. I'm especially a big fan of the Tan-Thu, and I've never seen a MIDI scale version of it built like this, or if I have seen a MIDI scale version of it built, it didn't look nearly as good as the one that we're looking at right now. Also, we have another Republic cruiser, a pretty similar design to the frigate, a much brighter color combination, and really it's just such a smooth build. All 3 of them just look wonderful together. Now, this last build of the top 10 is called Plastic and Paper by Takamich. One of the smallest builds I think I've ever featured on an episode like this, but I think it's extremely fitting. Unfortunately, the image is just slightly overexposed, so you can't see exactly all the Lego parts that go into the main portion of the body, but I have a feeling he might have done that on purpose to have it be confused a little bit more with the original paper one that is on the right hand side. Oh, by the way, this is a paper folded origami crane, if you couldn't tell from before. And honestly, it looks like it was put together a little little bit better than the paper folded version. That one's almost a little sloppy. I really do want to know how to make this. I feel like it would be a fun thing to have around the office. I'll mess around and see if I can't get one of these built out on my own. Anyways, I think it is now time for fan custom creations, the fan MOCs. You guys have been sending stuff in all week, as you do every week. Lots of great stuff. Remember, we've got builders of all ages and all kinds of levels, and this is just a fun way to kind of show off what you guys are doing, and I hope the comment sections are filled with support, because that's kind of what this whole thing is about. Anyways, here are all the fan MOCs.